In today's video, we will be talking about one of the most interesting spiders in the world. You have never seen a spider like this before in your entire life. This spider looks just like an ant. It behaves like an ant, and it can even fight like an ant. But wait, this is not an ant at all. What the hell? This is Myrmarachne formicaria, which is found in the tropical regions of both Africa and Asia. The name of this species means the ant-mimicking spider, and it truly deserves its name. If you see this spider from a distance, there is no way you can tell it apart from an actual ant. And even if you get up close, you will still struggle to realize that this is a spider. This ant-mimicking spider is only 2 to 3 millimeters long, and it has a body shape that is very similar to many ant species. Its abdomen is narrow and pointed, and its thorax is somewhat wider. Some of these spiders even have hairs on their bodies, making them look even more like ants. But perhaps the coolest thing is that they also have what looks like a single large compound eye in the middle of their heads, just like some ant species. But what about the eyes? Spiders usually have 8 eyes, but the ant-mimicking spider has somehow managed to evolve just 2. These spiders do not actually spin webs to catch their prey, but instead rely on their incredible mimicry skills to fool other animals into thinking they are harmless ants. And this works extremely well because many animals are completely fooled by this spider's appearance. Even us humans can find it hard to believe that this spider is not actually an ant, so other animals definitely fall for it as well. And this spider even takes things one step further by acting like an ant. For example, it can move around in a similar way to how ants move. It can also lift its abdomen up when it is threatened, just like a real ant. And just like with real ants, the larger males are usually black or dark brown, while the smaller females are usually red or yellow. But why does the ant-mimicking spider behave like an ant? Why does it mimic the way that ants move? The answer is simple: survival. Ant mimicry gives this spider a huge survival advantage. Most animals do not eat ants because they are generally unpleasant to eat due to their strong bites, their ability to spray acid, and their overall toughness. In addition, ants are often protected by other ants, which will attack any animal that gets too close to them. Therefore, if a predator sees a spider that looks like an ant and behaves like an ant, then it will assume that it is actually an ant and leave it alone. And this keeps the ant-mimicking spider safe from being eaten. The ant-mimicking spider is also able to use its ant-like appearance and behavior to hunt more effectively. Many insects, such as roaches and crickets, are known to be attracted to light. And since the ant-mimicking spider is often found near lights, the insects often walk right into its web. Once the spider senses that it has been touched, it quickly wraps its abdomen around the insect and injects it with venom. Then the spider waits for the insect to become paralyzed, and only then does it begin to eat. I'm sure you're wondering, why doesn't this spider just stick to eating insects that are already dead? Well, the thing is that this spider needs to eat meat in order to survive. Plants do not have enough nutritional value for this spider, so it must eat other animals. Now, you may be thinking that surely there are some animals out there that can tell that this spider is not actually an ant. And yes, there are some animals, like birds, that have good enough eyesight to see those 8 eyes instead of just 2. However, there are much more animals that cannot tell that this spider is not an ant. Therefore, the ant-mimicking spider survives just fine. The ant-mimicking spider lives in mostly leaf litter and rarely ventures far from its burrow. Sometimes it climbs up onto leaves and flowers in search of food. It can be found in various countries, including Sri Lanka, India, China, Australia, and many more. There are even specimens in museums in Vienna, London, and Paris. Now let's talk about the spider's unusual eyes for a moment. As I mentioned earlier, this spider has only 2 eyes, whereas most spiders have 8. But how can this spider see anything with just 1 eye? Well, although it only has 1 eye, it is a very large eye. This 1 eye is actually made up of thousands of tiny lenses, and each of those lenses acts like a separate eye. So basically, this 1 eye is equivalent to having many, many small eyes. The only downside is that it can only see things in black and white. What's also interesting is that this spider has a special structure in front of its eye called a guanine layer. This layer ensures that light does not hit the retina directly from the front. Instead, the light bounces off of the guanine crystals and then goes through tiny cracks in between the crystals. This creates a mosaic of light and dark spots, which helps the spider detect movement. The spider can then determine the direction of movement by seeing where the bright and dark spots appear in its vision. So, even though this spider has just one eye, it can see quite well. It is unclear whether all Myrmarachne spiders have this guanine layer, but it is likely that they do. Although the ant-mimicking spider has one big eye, it is still not very good at seeing things. That's why it spends most of its time hunting during the day, when it can rely on its other senses. It can feel vibrations on the ground and leaves, and it can also sense danger through chemicals in the air. These abilities allow the spider to move around safely and find food without accidentally running into dangerous situations. Another interesting thing about the ant-mimicking spider is that it is not actually an anteater. Even though it eats mostly insects, it is not related to anteaters at all. Instead, it is related to jumping spiders, which can jump many times their body length. However, unlike its relatives, the ant-mimicking spider cannot jump. It has lost this ability over time because it didn't really need it anymore. After all, it can perfectly mimic ants, which are much better at fighting than it is. Because of this, the ant-mimicking spider has become one of the best spider species at surviving in environments where there are lots of ants. It simply mimics ants and then runs away if it gets into trouble. If it encounters a dangerous insect, the ant-mimicking spider pretends to be a harmless ant, and it usually gets away with it. Sometimes these spiders even pretend to be aggressive ants, and they will fiercely attack whatever animal comes too close to them. They arch their abdomen upwards and they hiss at the approaching animal until it gives up and goes away. Ants usually protect each other, and the ant-mimicking spider takes advantage of this behavior. If it gets into trouble, it often pretends to be a wounded ant, and the other ants will come to its rescue. In some cases, the ant-mimicking spider even pretends to be an ant larva, and the ants will carry it back to the anthill and take care of it. It is truly amazing how the ant-mimicking spider has evolved to survive in its environment. It perfectly imitates ants in every possible way. It looks like them, it acts like them, and it even sounds like them. But most importantly, it benefits greatly from its ant-like appearance. It is able to fool many animals into thinking it is a harmless insect, which keeps it safe from being eaten. These spiders are truly masters of disguise, and it will be very interesting to see what new adaptations they evolve over the next few million years. Maybe one day they will even be able to fool us humans into thinking they are actually ants. Who knows? Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, please leave a like and subscribe. It would be greatly appreciated. Also, if you have any suggestions for future videos, please comment them down below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.